Hello friends, welcome to Mechanical Engineering online classes.
In this lecture, let us see the second type of motion, fixed axis rotation. In order to study the kinematics of rigid bodies which is under fixed axis rotation, we need to first understand what fixed axis rotation is, or otherwise fixed axis rotational motion. Unlike translation, wherein if an object is considered and if it is in translation, whether rectilinear or curvilinear, every particle on it will travel the same distance, so they'll all have the same geometry. Every particle in the object will have the same geometry of motion, means the displacement, velocity, acceleration, or anything else. But when it comes to fixed axis rotation, by the name we can understand that it is a rotation or rotational motion that is happening about a fixed axis. Let us see an example like this. Here OA is a bar, so this vertical segment is the bar that we are considering. So on this particular bar OA, the end point is A. So if at all this bar is rotating about point O, this is the point O. So the rotation of this object is happening about one fixed point. So the axis that is the axis about which the rotation is happening is perpendicular to the plane of motion. The plane of motion, let this be say y-axis, let this be say x-axis. So the axis of rotation is z-axis. The point about which the rotation is happening is fixed. So then in that case we'll call it as fixed axis rotation. And here we cannot assume this rigid body OA as a particle, because if at all this OA is rotated to 90 degrees say, or any theta for that matter, here 90 degrees is an example I have taken, but any theta. So OA is rotated by an angle theta. So now this particular coordinate is some B. If I take any intermediate point between O and A, some P here, so now this P will be shifted to a new coordinate which is Q, where OP is equal to OQ. The lengths are same. The same point whose coordinate at initial position of OA along the y-axis is P. Now after rotation by some theta, this P is now reaching a new coordinate Q. So after rotation of theta, P coordinate is changing from P to Q. So if you see the distance or the displacement covered by point A is, say this is some L1, and the distance that is travelled by P is L2. So arc length of PQ, which is L2, is lesser than the arc length of AB. So the object is rotating about a fixed axis, and the angular displacement, or we say that it is rotated by some theta. This theta is constant for the entire object, but every particle is not moving in the same distance, so the geometry of motion is different. And the other point is that when the rotation is about a fixed axis, all the particles on the object, so let us name all these particles. For example, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So as OA rotates about z-axis, all these particles will have different paths of motions, even if that happens in translation also, but all these will be concentric to each other, and the distance or the lengths of these arcs are not constant, which is not the case in translation. The path that is traced is parallel in translation, and the distance that every particle has moved is also same, but that is not the case with fixed axis rotation. So how do we find what angular displacement is? When an object from point A travels to point B, in a linear fashion, then we are saying this is some x, and x is a linear displacement. And we have seen we have derived all the geometry of motion like displacement, velocity and acceleration under constant acceleration, variable acceleration. We have derived all the kinematic laws of particles, which you can go through in the playlist of kinematics of particles. But here the displacement is not linear, it is angular. So when the displacement is angular, we call it as angular displacement. Or you can see it here. This red color bar, this one is a bar that is rotating about O. There is a pin joint at O. So the plane of motion is xy. The axis, let this be z axis. The axis about which the rotation is happening is perpendicular to the plane of motion. O is fixed. So initially OA, the position of the bar is OA1, which is at theta 1 from x-axis. After rotation of this, it has reached some A2 point, which is theta 2 from x-axis. Now what is the angular displacement? Initially it was at theta 1, later it went till theta 2. So the angular displacement is from A1 to A2 is theta 2 minus theta 1. Theta 2 minus theta 1 is this theta. So that is the angular displacement, which is theta 2 minus theta 1. So if we have to look at this particular situation in the normal coordinate system, let us say that this O is a axis or the point about which this object is rotating. So the point that we are considering is some P. The rotation is happening like this. Omega is the angular velocity. Rate of change of angular displacement is angular velocity. So that is omega. So then the velocity of this particle will be in tangential direction. This is the tangential direction T. So V is along this and AT is also along this. AT is nothing but the tangential component of acceleration. The normal component of acceleration will be along this particular axis, which is along OP. So this is the normal direction, because this is the this O is the center of curvature now. So P is taking this red color dot line is a curved line or the circular path that P is taking. Particle on the object under rotation about O. So the center of curvature is O. If at all we want to find the acceleration in tangential or normal direction, then we have to find the tangential is this along the tangent at P, and normal is nothing but the radial one towards the center of curvature. That direction is the normal. So in this particular direction there is normal component of acceleration. So we have a AN and we have AT. The total or the resultant of normal and tangential acceleration will give us the total acceleration A. So if theta is the angular displacement, which is theta 2 minus theta 1, final position minus initial position, then the rate of change of angular displacement is the angular velocity, which is denoted as omega, given by, mathematically it is given as d theta by dt. So by RHT rule, right hand thumb rule, anti-clockwise angular velocity is considered as positive, and it's obvious that the clockwise direction or sense of angular velocity is considered as negative. This is by right hand thumb rule. In the same way, the rate of change of angular velocity is called as angular acceleration and is denoted as alpha. So mathematically alpha can be written as d omega by dt, and because omega is d theta by dt, So we can write it as d square theta by dt square. So now let us see the different types of fixed axis rotational motion. Different types means based on how the geometry of motion can change, like motion with uniform or constant angular velocity, motion with uniform angular acceleration, and motion with variable angular acceleration. So in them, the first one is motion with uniform or constant angular velocity. So when the angular velocity itself is constant, so as omega is constant, d omega by dt will be equal to 0, which is nothing but alpha, angular acceleration. So there is no question of alpha. And theta can be written as omega into t, angular velocity multiplied by time. Let us analyze rotational motion, which is at constant acceleration, angular acceleration. So let alpha be the angular acceleration, omega naught is initial angular velocity, omega f is the final angular velocity for theta, which is angular displacement in t time interval. So let us start with the first relation that we know, alpha, because this is about constant angular acceleration. Alpha can be written as d omega by dt. Mathematically, alpha is d omega by dt. On cross multiplication, we can write d omega as alpha dt. Let us try to integrate this above equation on both the sides. Omega is changing from omega naught to omega f. Since alpha is constant, I am keeping it outside the integral. From 0 to t, time is changing. So on integration, we get omega that changes from omega naught to omega f, and this is alpha t, which changes from 0 to t. So this can be written as omega f minus omega naught is equal to alpha t, or omega f is equal to omega naught plus alpha t. So this is the first result, first outcome. This is just similar to v is equal to u plus at for linear displacements, linear velocities and linear accelerations. So this omega f equal to omega naught plus alpha t is for the angular motion under constant angular acceleration. So from the first relation, alpha equal to d omega by dt, we have obtained omega f as omega naught plus alpha t. Now with the second relation, omega is nothing but d theta by dt. So now let us try to find relation between theta, omega and t. So we can write this as d theta equal to omega dt. So in order to find theta, let us integrate the above equation on both sides. So if at all from 0 degrees it is taking an angular displacement of theta, it is 0 to theta, integral d theta is equal to integral 0 t omega f dt. So this is nothing but theta is equal to integral 0 to t. So at t it becomes omega naught plus alpha t. So we have used this first outcome, omega f is equal to omega naught plus alpha t dt. So we can split this up. because alpha is constant, I'm bringing this outside. This is t dt. This can be written as omega naught is also a constant, initial angular velocity is constant. So omega naught integral dt is t, 0 to t it is. So it is t plus alpha into t square by 2. So it is half alpha t square. So this is just similar to our linear expression s is equal to ut plus half at square. Just like that we got this, all for the angular motion. This is the second outcome. Now let us try to formulate a new relation. We know alpha is d omega by dt. So this can be written as d omega by d theta into d theta by dt, which is nothing but alpha. So this can be written as, this d theta by dt can be written as omega, and this second term we are writing as it is d omega by d theta. This is alpha. So from this we can write alpha d theta as omega d omega, just like ADX is equal to VDV in our linear equations, linear relation. So now let us integrate this on both the sides. So integral 0 to theta alpha d theta is equal to integral omega naught to omega f omega d omega. Alpha is constant, so it will come out. Alpha integral d theta will be theta. Theta is changing from theta to 0, so it is theta only. Alpha theta is equal to integral omega d omega will be omega square by 2. Which is changing from omega naught to omega f. So we can write this as half into omega f square minus omega naught square. This is alpha theta, or otherwise we can write it as omega f square minus omega naught square is equal to 2 alpha theta, or omega f square is equal to omega naught square plus 2 alpha theta. So when the motion was linear, we had something like this: v square minus u square is equal to 2as, or v square is equal to u square plus 2as. So just like similar to this, we are getting this third relation. So these are the three relations that the geometry of motion will have when the motion is rotational fixed axis motion with uniform angular acceleration. Let us see the third type of fixed axis rotational motion with variable angular acceleration. So alpha is not constant, so alpha can be written as d omega by dt. D omega by dt can be written as d omega by d theta into d theta by dt, chain rule. So this will be the relation. We have just seen this relation in the second type of rotational motion here, this one. So in a similar fashion we have just rewritten this. So here alpha is a variable. If alpha is constant, then all these the second type that comes under second type, and these outcomes will be satisfied in every condition during the motion.
Thanks for watching. If this video was of help to you, please like it and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.